Even if what I saw was at the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Press.
Yes!
Don't say yes, Annie. No. Oh. It's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. I have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? You're wearing glasses that are really opaque. How could I? And yet, it's an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Of what? Attention! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman. I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in the most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Kuta-san? Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Yes!
You said you were under the table, so... Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at the point at the time. But I've told you already, that's only because I'd picked it up off the floor. Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away. I just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when... Oh, a gun! I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And in exactly that moment... a gunshot rang in my ears. One of events beyond our control, life is. Sorry? What do you mean? In your case, you found a pistol on the floor... Oh, you're back to the knife again, are you? Just like, jeez. A pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated the testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Coben from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I did see you, with pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner. I don't wave the knife around with a baby present. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. I feel like we're going to get something from this.
Yes!
Surely. Must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection!
As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have even caught even a glimpse of this woman. Only there'd been more people dining there at the time, and someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Do we have anything to do with the time? Just that. Oh, I didn't check the back of that. Can I check the back of that? Because clearly we can see letters on the other side. It's like, I want to see the other side of this business card. I feel like there's something hidden on this that we don't know about. Yet. I know, of course, the place is almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly. 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day and why he was alone. Wasn't that said at some point? If I remember correctly? Yes, Your Excellency. It's indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. Oh, here we go. What's that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. So he couldn't be there for lunch. because he was going to the doctor. Why was he going to the doctor? Hotter clinic, of course it is. Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry from the date in question. 19th of November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. Well, the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on this case. It's going to have huge bearing on this case, isn't it? I wonder... What do you think, Rio? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Put it in. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence or not? Ask for it for me to be submitted?
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are no concern. No, they're very... What?
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. His mouth was twitching then, wasn't it? I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. Victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record. Let's have a look at that. What we need right now is new clues. Yeah, that might be what we needed. I want to look at it closely. A medical report card from Hot Clinic that was found in the victim's pocket. I wanted a closer look, that's why... Oh. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. You're free to reiterate for the accused, Korakuta-san. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Yes!
So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone? That I did. Give me for the position I place you in. So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget, incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. That steak doesn't match, as can clearly be seen. There's only a single beef steak on the victim's table. A meal for one that has been eaten far beyond... Again, it doesn't match up with the steak in the picture there. Nor does the bottle. The bottle's been moved. It's like it's a different point in time, a different thing. Wait, I've got a magnifying glass. Just realised. I can show you, like, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you go over this one, magnifying glass, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, chomp. So where, and the bottle, here, moved. It's like, what's going on here? Something's going on there. No. The antiques dealer, the sergeant and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Indeed. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out.
Yes!
No! Why aren't you telling the truth? What? What did you say, cadet? I clearly remember. was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might have not noticed. Both of you? Yeah, but for the both of you to have failed to see the professor's dying companion? It's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Detective Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. But the only thing I've got is the pictures. And this is just that discrepancy. That's all I can think of. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It's a blatant waste of the court's time. There's nothing I can say to that. Excellent work, Ryo. We've gleaned some new information now. All we got was that medical report thingy. Yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. It's like all we got was this medical report card. Although we got the picture, didn't we? When did we get the picture? Did we get that during that? I can't remember now. No. Interesting collar pin. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. Yeah, it's like, again, I've got a discrepancy with the picture, but how do I get to that? I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes. This is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. I tried! How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press A, which will be X for me, and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use we got that back. I only had that in the first Ace Attorney when I was doing the trilogy. So rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. Good, because I want to examine the back of that business card. Or the front, I suppose. By using... You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use and A to inspect any areas of the evidence that look suspicious. Oh, so we've got to do on this. Okay, so it's like That's what the stamp's for. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? How could he eat a steak with a tooth taken out? It seems so, just before the incident. He had a bad tooth removed. That's very, very, telling. It's like he would not be able to chew. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. It's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? That's like information worth bearing in mind. Medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. Yeah, So it's like the fact that the steak was eaten and stuff, like that's how we get there. That's how we get there. This new information, meaning that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. I want to examine other stuff. Like, but can I now use that? Chief Inspector. Uh-huh. Like, uh-huh. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, see it says the witness's name here. Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name, that's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job? Oh. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. Let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. They're wielding it somehow here. Waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. I knew there had to be something very strange going on with this on the back. Just me or though, it's like the print on the back doesn't line up. Like you see the flower in the top right there. It's further down in the top left. Like the print on the back is slightly too high for the front. Huh. Is there anything else? So I can't do anything there. Can I get further information? No, that's just that. My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a Yume student at the university. You may not come in, they say. Of course. You can get a new pin made if you could just tell them your number. I actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere, but then I forget not to forget that. Oh dear. Okay, we haven't got anything else we can check. Okay. Okay, even if that, if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. So we need to find somewhere we can use the medical report now. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search at the premises at the time confirmed that there were only one personnel present. Maybe? Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Dining, he is not dining, because he can't have dined, because... Nope, I want to present it. Yes! Yes. Well, I think, what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could. First and foremost, here, I'm the accused. Ryu. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in the cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hands straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright. Thanks for the advice. Kodakuta-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on the report card with your witness statement. I love that he looks at his hand. Something clearly doesn't add up. Objection! Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, young amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt the court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, Remember, Ryu, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could but... He did a bump. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hotter Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating. Expected the baby to ding. Just what are you trying to say, cadet? I had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours, post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't... Kurakuta-san. What, boy, what? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No? Additionally, there's more? You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. I like the little touches, like the fact he slams down his hands now, it does go boom, rather than slap. And he doesn't look at his hand. It's like, that's nice. You can see him becoming more confident. Because the victim, as we now know, just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthesia. Or anesthetic. One of the two. Expertly done, partner. Oh, it's quite a turn of events. What? What is this nonsense? You little upstart. These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Why can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Oh my, how the turntables. Would you agree, Ryu? Yes, most definitely. Having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? No? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... It wasn't the victim, it wasn't us. It wasn't the two witnesses, because that wouldn't really make sense. And we're trying to ascertain that there was a woman there, so it's like an as-yet unknown third party. The woman. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
Will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
It was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, The only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Kazuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit? In murder? No! Oh yes. That's quite good. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. What tactical meeting? I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Oh. What? What did you just say? Karakuta-san? Oh, no. We're just following orders. Now, hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Oh dear, oh dear. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You try to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Anyways, back to that. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouths shut? Well, that's classified. Pulling on his mustache. Like, jeez. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryu. Judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence, just like, jeez. However, I don't believe Ouchie had any idea about it. What are you saying? And to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, I know the police were somehow connected to everything going on here because of the business cards, so... Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need the name of whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his power here. It's like... It's Hasanaga. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, it's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you, the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency, I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Your Excellency, no time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout at the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is the head waiter of the European star restaurant La Carnival. He was serving there on the day of the incident. Oh look, you can see the thing flashing in the top right now, which means it's like very, very important we get this right, and it's like, it's clearly him.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hasanaga-san. Hasanaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. But if, that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were... Come on, Ryo. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hasanaga-san's real identity is proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? The front. Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yeah, he's back to slamming. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Just flip it over. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Flip the card. Hasanaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of this business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. Waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses, there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you the orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen the foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Hold it. From who? He's back. Inspector Hasanaga! Why the cough, though? I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... That was me immediately. I was like, what's on it? Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. Strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It is my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusual, careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are a detective? Why would a detective be working at a restaurant as a waiter? Of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant lately. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. They're not, though, are they? Very well then, Inspector Hasanaga. Would you elaborate on your point? On one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? What is with the cough? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. What? What? Oh, as soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out to the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once? It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. Why? But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. Why? The Empire views the friendly terms of this relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the phantom woman in the case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring in mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yuma University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young English woman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you were the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. And the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss... Giselle Brett. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory at Yuma University's medical faculty. What is happening here? Oh my, quite the turn of events. I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of the lady's presence at the scene and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her pushing the baby down, of her in their testimonies. I just love how it distracts you. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be Desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline for a ruling in order to send the telegraph report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hasanaga. Yes, sir? You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem. Still weird with this cough, though. Nothing will get in my way. Okay. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency. Oh dear. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Interesting.